So we are getting used to our new platform. And thank you, Alicia, and thank you, the WMDA, for hosting this meeting and helping us with the technology and advising us as to how to share our slides as well. So, so today we have we are gathered at a quite an important meeting together, important for the EMDIS community. So we are discussing the way forward for the EMDIS community. So thank you all for attending. We have a few presentations here. We have quite a lot of time for discussion. We will try to collect questions as well at a couple of points during this meeting. So please prepare any questions that you have, and then please feel free to write them in the chat, where then Alicia will collect them and display them, and then we will discuss these questions together. The topic today will be EMDIS goes WMDA, and I will be presenting an overview of what the governance and financial arrangements would look like for this merger. And then Daniel and David will be describing the technical arrangements, which are still being discussed. Then we will have some open discussion, hopefully, with the community, after which we will vote and seek to decide on where to take us, how to take us forward here. Then we will talk about the implementation package 18, and then there will be room for any other business. If any EMDIS member would like to raise points for discussion, then we can do so. David, do you have anything you would like to share before we start with the presentations?
No, just welcome everybody, and the interaction was perfect. So looking forward for the meeting.
Thank you. Okay, then let's see how. And Alicia, do I need to do the swap again? Okay.
Yeah, you will have to swap it again.
Great. Is this better? Great. Okay, EMDIS goes WMDA. I will review what has happened and what has been done, and then present or describe the results of discussions on governance and finance, and discuss some of the concerns that have been raised by the community on this issue. First of all, why are we discussing this question? Well, we realized several years ago that EMDIS needs modernization, and thus we launched the EMDIS 4 project. However, during this project, we and others realized that actually there are two competing or redundant projects within the WMDA. There was the EMDIS 4 project that sought to create a modern communication register to registry communication system. And we had the Connect system that was attempting to do just the same. And because we wanted to pool resources, not waste them, and not have competing projects, then now we are discussing EMDIS goes WMDA. And what has happened along the way? EMDIS 4 design started in 2018. And so there's been quite a lot of work on this project, on design and also testing the solution. In the beginning of 2019, the EMDIS 4 working group published a paper, the EMDIS 4.0 white paper, discussing the technical solution that they had developed. And then they started to work on a pilot for EMDIS, for this EMDIS 4 solution. While working on this pilot, they asked the EMDIS community to set up a steering committee for this work that would give a user perspective for that. And I was on that committee, and several others who are at this meeting were there, Felix and Simona and others. And we were impressed by the question that I posed on the previous slide. Why are we building the two systems, and how can we reconcile these projects? We brought this to the EMDIS chairs, who then contacted the WMDA office and the Search, Match and Connect group, and started discussions on that. And as a result of that, then a framework writing group was established that was designed to discuss options for bringing these two projects together, and to describe and to develop some concepts for the governance of these two systems, and also discuss how the finances would be governed. Simultaneously, there was a technical working group called the Blueprint Writing Group, who were tasked to work on a technical solution for these two systems. We sought to inform the EMDIS membership on progress and questions and so on during these virtual meetings that we have had in twice in 2020, and now we're having the second meeting this year. So we have tried to involve the membership and tried to maintain open channels for discussion as well with the membership. We also asked counsel from the EMDIS advisory committee on how to go forward with this. And then the final comments on this have been provided by the EMDIS 4 pilot group that were working on this pilot project for EMDIS 4. So quite a lot of work has gone into this. All sorts of committees. Some of us have been sitting on quite a few committees, and some actually will say that they've been sitting on too many committees. But I think this reflects a couple of things. First of all, we are a group that are used to a democratic type of governance. So the membership has to be informed, and they have to be able to give input, and then they will finally decide what happens. And it is good so that hopefully everybody is heard, but it is admittedly quite cumbersome. But here we are, and now we are presenting the results of this work, and then hopefully making a decision as a community. So the principles of governance that we have tried to highlight during this work have been to maintain this democratic decision-making and inclusive decision-making. We have tried to highlight that the users are in the driver's seat, and to maintain that whatever happens, and if we decide to go with EMDIS Goes WMDA, and if we decide to go with the unified IT solution, then the user group would be deciding where this is taken. And the principle of the request for change process that we have had in EMDIS would be maintained in this new system. And that's how the users would maintain control of where this new, how this new system is developed, and what functionalities, what new functionalities take priority as we develop the system. And the steering group that will then oversee the development of the new system and guide the system, guide how the system is developed, would have user representation. Then we tried to collect concerns from the EMDIS community regarding governance and finance, and we did that at our January meeting. And this is a summary. First of all, let's see. Let me so now I have a pointer. So the ones here at the top are the concerns of the community regarding governance. These are summarized. So of course there were several more points, but I have tried to summarize the concerns here. So the community wanted more clarity on how decisions are made. They were concerned whether this kind of democracy and bottom-up kind of governance are maintained. And they were concerned whether the autonomy of registries would be maintained. Then regarding finances, they were asking, or we were asking as a community, whether the costs will be governed by the users, and how well these costs are transparent to the community, and what are the costs actually. Okay, and now for to describe the organization and the description of this, both governance and finance, and also description of the technical solution and where how far the discussion is there, have been sent to the community prior to the meeting. So hopefully most of you have seen these diagrams. So pillar one, this is a description of the organization akin to the description of the other pillars in the WMDA. So the WMDA board is at the top, and the board committee for pillar one oversees what is happening in pillar one. We will have a new user group that will consist of the users of this new IT system. And then the steering committee will be overseeing the development of the new IT system. And then we will have the technical advisory group, which is akin to the technical working group of the EMDIS, the EMDIS technical working group, that will be giving advice to the user group on technical issues. And I will describe these groups in the following slides. Of course, pillar one will include data quality, security, privacy, bioinformatics groups. And there may be other project teams on specific projects as well. But the user group and the technical group, I want to emphasize, are permanent groups in pillar one. So the user group, what will they, who consist, how is it consisting? How does it consist of? What does it consist of? There will be one voting member per participating registry. Like today, registries may send other members to the meetings as well, but they will have one vote, as currently in the EMDIS user group as well. The user group will develop their own house rules. We have some ideas of the house rules, and when this user group will have its first meeting, then or of course prior to that meeting, then these draft house rules will be sent to the provisional membership for them to read and comment. And but the user group will organize themselves, develop these house rules. I would presume that they will elect a chair and a vice chair, and so on. And this user group will oversee the design and the development of the single solution. And there will be a request for change process, and any member can present an RFC, which I presume must be seconded by 2 other user group members. We will be free to define this, but I think that would be reasonable. And which now will be different to what we have had in EMDIS. There has to be a financial, this RFC must include an estimate of the financial cost of this requested change. so that this request for change can then be used by the finance committee to prepare the budget for the following year for this pillar. So there will be a description of the technical solution, description of what this requested change will do for the users, and there will be a description of what it will cost in implementation. The technical advisory group, members of the technical advisory group will include any one voting member for any participating registry that wants to be involved. And there may be, I would presume there could be other members. Of course, this technical advisory group will self-organize and write up their house rules, and I presume they will elect a chair and a vice chair as well. And this technical advisory group will provide a forum for the discussion on technical issues. I think questions that would arise would be if such and such an RFC will be implemented, what does that mean for registries? How much of a work burden will there be? Will there be financial issues and technical issues for the registries? And then this feedback will be given back to the user group and to the technical advisory group. I'm sorry, to the steering group. And the steering committee, they would be a working group that would be actively overseeing and directing the development of this new technical solution. So this committee will work very actively. Probably they will meet twice a month or something like that to solve questions, discuss questions, and make practical decisions concerning the development of the IT solution. There will be 5 to 6 members. The user group and the technical advisory group will have a representative will each have a representative on the steering committee. So this is how the users and the technical experts of the community will communicate their views on the technical solution that we will be developing. And the steering committee will have administrative support from the WMDA office, as hopefully will also the user group and the technical group have. And the steering committee then, they will report to the user group on progress, and they will report to the board committee. They will make recommendations on future directions of where should this new IT system, how should it be developed, and what would be the most useful technical solutions in the future. They will develop an implementation plan of the approved RFCs. And if there will be problems or there will be expensive solutions, then they will escalate this to the board committee for discussion. The board committee of Pillar 1, as previously, it has representatives of the Security and Privacy Committee, the Data Quality and the Data Dictionary Committee, Bioinformatics Committee, but it will also have a representative of this user group of this IT system. This they may be the chair or they may be a member of the user group. And the board committee will provide strategic direction for the whole pillar, as they have done up till now as well. They are accountable to the WMDA board to execute the strategy of the board. They will update the membership of the pillar on what is happening, and they will, if there is budget constraints, they will escalate these to the board and to the finance committee. Then finance arrangements. These were very well described by Oliver last month at the WMDA meeting. So if you would like more details, I recommend that you will look up Oliver's presentation. It is available on Share at the WMDA meeting week Share pages. But in summary, just to summarize the finances, the pillar, that means us in pillar 1, we will develop the RFCs, and based on these RFCs, there will be a plan developed by the board committee of the pillar one of the plan of what will be done next year regarding the IT system. And then this will be communicated to the WMDA office and then to the finance committee. The finance committee then will take these plans from all the different pillars and put them together into a unified budget. And of course, assess the income of the WMDA and prepare a budget for the WMDA board for approval. And then this will be then discussed, approved by the board, communicated to the membership, that is the WMDA membership, at the general membership meeting. And so we as members will then be able to approve or disapprove of the budget. As to transparency, the finance committee, and that's here at the bottom of the slide, they will provide a detailed selection on the finances of the WMDA software applications for us to see. And I think this is very welcome, because the the software budget of the WMDA, I believe, is more than half of the WMDA budget. So having a detailed selection on this part, I think is reasonable and very welcome. One thing that I would like to share with everyone, Oliver did explain this, but I think it is worth emphasizing, is that the finances of the WMDA are audited by an independent professional auditing company. So there is a professional audit of our finances. So So not only are they visible to us, but they are audited but by someone who understands this professionally. Okay, so now I see that I'm taking up a lot of time, but I wanted to go over this carefully. But so now I will try to summarize what I have explained. So the community desired more clarity on how decisions are being made. I hope I was able to explain that. I think we have developed a governance system where there is an RFC system and the users are in the driver's seat, and that the users can influence what is happening with the IT system. I think we can govern the costs. We will see the RFCs and we will be presented by also the cost implication of the new development. We will be presented by a summary of what is or an outline of what is of how the money is used for finances. What are the costs of the new system? That's a good question. We will be, David and Daniel will be describing the still somewhat open questions that we have regarding the systems. My understanding is that if we go with the proposal that the blueprint writing group is proposing, then our costs, the costs of the new system will not lead to an increase in WMDA membership fees. If we will develop other solutions and other other types of solutions, then they may have a cost implications as well. So, okay, so this is just a summary. Actually, I have mentioned these points already, so maybe we don't, well, to recap, we will have 2 seats on the steering committee, user and technical. So we will have an influence on how the technical solution is developed. We will have a seat on the board committee, and we will have a seat, I forgot to mention, on the finance committee as well. So I think the user group will be able to influence the design and the development of the single solution. The solution will be flexible, so we can connect to the solution using different interfaces. And as I have said earlier, if we want to have a voice in the development of the new solution, then I think we need to use that voice, and we need to be active, and the user group needs to raise their voice and discuss actively and take part in what is going on. So now we are here, we are making a decision on whether to be incorporated within the WMDA, which will then enable us to develop a unified IT platform for our community. and during this fall, IP18 can be launched. That will be the first practical steps in that we are taking towards this goal. Okay. Thank you very much for this. And I think next on the agenda, we will have Daniel discussing the EMDIS 4.0 pilot group report. So thank you, everybody, and over to Daniel.
Okay, thank you. I try to share my screen. One moment, please. Should be that one. Hope you can see my screen.
Yes, thank you very much.
Fine. So I've been asked to talk about the recently published document that deals with the technical impact of a joint EMDIS and WMDA project. And I also have been asked to be not too technical in this presentation. That might be a bit of a challenge for me, but what I will give it a try and talk about the bigger picture of the technical alignment of the two platforms instead of diving into the details of the document too much. If you're still interested in all those details, I recommend to read the paper. It's linked on Share, I guess. Feel free to contact me or the EMDIS chairs. If you can't find it, we are happy to send it over. So let's just jump in. We are talking about the technical alignment of the EMDIS 4 and the WMDA Connect projects here. The alignment has been suggested by different parties, different times, to avoid two similar systems doing similar things. And the idea, of course, is to save costs and efforts. Aligning two projects is not as easy as the equation on the slide may suggest, because we are not starting from scratch, but already have some requirements and designs in both projects at the moment. So it's about reconciling different requirements, and of course the common goal is to establish a solution that is solid and sustainable. And how to approach those solutions has been discussed in different groups, as already has been mentioned, for example, the Blueprint Group. Again, a timeline. Matti also showed that to you, so I can go over it pretty quickly, I guess. We had the EMDIS 4 white paper in March 2019, I think. Then we had the EMDIS 4 pilot phase. It lasted from June 2019 to July 2020, and it was presented together with a final report in the user group meeting that also was in July 2020, I think. The Blueprint Group started discussing on how to run a common platform between WMDA and EMDIS after that, just because it, as said, was requested many times. The Blueprint Group consisted of members from EMDIS and from WMDA, and it showed at some point that the discussions in the Blueprint Group had some consequences for the original EMDIS 4 concepts, and therefore the EMDIS working group was involved again and discussed and documented their thoughts in the document that was published recently. So what are the different requirements? I will start with the EMDIS 4 requirements. They are all around EMDIS messaging, of course, and the technical specification of the broker as the central software component in that system. All the requirements are documented in the final report, which has been published last year and which can be seen as some kind of EMDIS 4 specification. The ideas and issues around EMDIS 4 and the shifting from the peer-to-peer network, as you might know, to a central system have been discussed there in the pilot phase and finally been documented. There also has been a bigger part of programming already to prepare the ECS software for EMDIS 4, basically by adding AMQP support to it. ECS is the access layer to the EMDIS network. And there are, I guess, 4 implementations available at the moment. It's also important to state that the EMDIS 4 specification, beside the pure technical things, also aims for a solid and simple and open solution. So I will go to the EMDIS Connect requirements for a moment. The WMDA requirements are, at least in my understanding, more on the infrastructure side, and this makes perfectly sense as the WMDA offered to run the platform. So for WMDA, it is important to be able to integrate the planned APIs into the system and allow API-based access to EMDIS for non-EMDIS registries. And this, of course, should be ideally achieved by leveraging the existing infrastructure driven by WMDA, which is hosted on Microsoft Azure. So where we are at the moment, discussions show that we have agreement on most of the requirements, as shown here in green, which is very good. But if, as you might have guessed, most is in this case not all. We have one decision that is still pending. It's about the broker that should be used in that solution. Unfortunately, that's not an easy decision, as it is the main component, at least for EMDIS 4. So what does that mean? Obviously, we are having mutually exclusive requirements here at the moment regarding the broker softwares, and the decision about that software component affects some additional areas. It's not that easy to decide upon. As stated here, it's a very important decision as it forms the future of the joint project. But there are ways to solve that. There are some suggestions how to solve this, and there's also a plan how to move forward, and I guess David will talk about that in a minute. And before I come to an end, I will recommend again to read that document if you are interested in even more details. And I want to say thank you to the working group for the work on that document. And by that, I want to hand over to David.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. I will continue on your slides because we have joint presentation.
Okay,
so you can move
fine.
to the next slide. Yeah, next one. Next, please. So I will actually explain what does it mean for the users and what will be the next step. So if we look at the solutions from the user perspective, it seems that the community prefers to have a single solution, not two solutions. And based on that, we have seen the preliminary direction from the EMDIS users in the last user group meeting and also the other discussions. Unfortunately, even if we have been given time, 6 months from the October meeting till now, we don't have a common final technical solution yet. So we actually have approved RFC72, but some technical details are not yet finalized. But again, from the user perspective, the registries have to have a solid, good local solution, software solution that can handle requests, that can communicate with others, that understands WMD standards, that understands WMD data dictionary and MD semantics. And this is still in place, that's still valid, but the users actually are not so concerned what is in the background if the messages flow via MDIS4, MDIS3, whatever protocol is in the background. That's engine of the car, let's say. So there is interest from users. Users want technical people to find a solution, and we don't have a solution yet. But the idea is to give the technical people another chance to discuss as open-minded as possible and find the best solution for the whole community that will be the best in the long run. Okay, next one, please. So it has been proposed to make a technical summit. At the moment, we had a lot of technical working groups that worked in parallel. Unfortunately, from the beginning, we had the Connect working group and the MDIS4 working group that have developed their solutions. And in the last couple of months, especially Daniel, myself, and also Jan, we have tried to make a bridge and liaison between the different working groups, and it was not always easy. So we proceeded in some aspects, like for example the XML to JSON agreement, but we didn't finalize the work. So the idea is to actually merge all these working groups together, make one big technical summit that will discuss the solution. As input to this summit, we will have the documents from and ideas from MDIS4 working group, which means the RFC72, and the final documents and also the feedback. We will also have the outcomes from the technical blueprint group from the MDIS Goes WMDA that was led by Alicia, and she produced quite a lot of documents and very well as well. And of course, the Connect project delivery group. And as an outcome, we expect to have a common technical solution that will be used in the long run. Okay, next one. So so far we don't have consensus, we don't have common agreement, and as Daniel has shown, there are some aspects of the technical solutions that are contradictory, that the requirements are different. However, it's important to have a consent, which means to have something that we can move forward. Okay, next one. So the technical summit, we already have some basic ideas how the summit should look like. This is organized with help of Alicia and WMDA office. It will be on Wednesday, some Wednesday in the near future, not next Wednesday. It will start in the afternoon, so we can have also the US colleagues. Unfortunately, there is no time around the clock that will be the best solution for everybody. It will take at least 4 hours. We will have independent facilitator. There are some ideas from different people who, if the facilitator should be from the community or outside the community. However, it should be some neutral, technically adept and experienced person or leader that will facilitate the discussion. You can see the list of attendees. It's basically the merge of all working groups that that will serve as an input to the technical summit. However, the list is not final, and we would like all technical representatives of EMDIS registries to join this summit, because I think it will be important, and we don't want to leave anybody behind. So everybody who has opinion on the future technical solution should join and speak there. Please contact us. We will provide you more information directions. Okay, next one. So what does it mean for EMDIS Goes WMDA voting and the next steps? We will have a voting today. As Matti has explained, we already have very solid and mature governance framework and proposal. We have the finance arrangements that are proposed, but unfortunately we don't have the technical solution yet, the final technical solution. But however, if the community decides votes yes for EMDIS Goes WMDA, it will definitely increase the need to have a technical solution. So the technical people will have to find a solution in all cases. As a preparation for the summit, for the IT summit, definitely the discussion is on these two solutions that Daniel has presented, like who will bear more costs if WMDA will have more efforts on the maintenance and the hosting of the solution, or if the local participating registries will have to redevelop some work they already have done for EMDIS 4. But as a preparation, everybody should participate in the IT summit as open-minded as possible, and everybody, the leaders or the managers of the registry should make a commitment that on both sides, on all sides, so it's on the for participating registries and also for WMDA, that the solution that will come out from the technical summit will be accepted, even if the local workload will increase. And also the EMDIS Goes WMDA voting proposes the new governance. So we will have, if this is approved, we will have a new user group that will lead and oversee the progress. So that will be also some kind of guarantee that there will be a point in the near future where we will have a technical solution and technical decision. Okay, next one. What are the implications for IP18? We told you in October that we will have 6 months for the alignment with Connect project, and some technical details may change. We gave you update in January at the January meeting that we are working on that. Unfortunately, the RFC 72 is already approved, but unfortunately we don't have a final technical solution yet. So this means that we can't proceed, otherwise we would undermine this activity, and this goes WMDA and the technical summit preparations, which means that RFC 72, even if it's the highest priority RFC for the IP18, it will be postponed. And I will give you more information later in the agenda how we may solve this. One option is to, once we have the solution ready, we may create another implementation package that may run parallel with the IP18, but this is to be decided by users, and we will discuss it later. Okay, next one. So summary, as you have seen from Daniel's presentation, most points of the technical decisions are already taken based on EMDIS 4. The Connect project was finally the final technical solution is inspired, at least inspired by EMDIS 4. But still we have some critical points to be solved, especially the broker decision that needs more time. Of course, the changes may have some impact on costs and time and so on, but this is important. As I said, the implication on IP18 is a postponement of RFC72, and we informed you about the technical summit. Be prepared, join the summit if you can. And as I said, the EMDIS Goes WMDA approval will increase the need of the technical solution from all sides, from both sides, and the new combined user group in the driving seat, as Matti explained, will oversee the progress. Okay, thank you. So having said that, I'm giving the back to Matti.
Okay, thank you. So, thank you for very good presentations, and thank you especially to Daniel and David. These were technical presentations that I was able to follow, so that's quite a win. Great. I think now we have an opportunity for discussion. So I think what we would, so what we were planning to do is, because discussing as such a large group is somewhat difficult to manage, then what we will do is we will give the community now 5 minutes to think about a question or a comment. And we will ask you to write it down in the chat of this Zoom meeting. So any question or comment that you may have, please. Yeah, well, the first one is already there. Very good. So please write these questions into the chat during the next 5 minutes, and then we will discuss them together. And I will warn you, some of the questions we may have an answer to, and then some of them we don't. This is the way. This is the way how it goes. But we will try our best, and let's have an open and frank discussion. So 5 minutes from now, it's 4 o'clock in Finland, so 4:05, we will start the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much to the presenters. While everybody is thinking of their questions and posting them in the chat, I'd like to point out that we do have some representation from the WMDA as well. Of course, we know and understand the role that we play here and our accountability in this. So if you have any questions for WMDA, please feel free to ask them here as well.
Okay, I think we have used up the 5 minutes. If you still have questions or comments, of course you can keep writing them in the chat, but I think now is the time to start discussing these. Okay, so the first one. How can you ask us to vote today if no final technical solution has been found and proposed to EMDIS registry members yet? Good question, Evelyn. I can say something from the organization side. Would the technical, would some people from the technical side want to discuss as well?
I try to raise my hand. Yes.
Please, Hans Peter.
Shall I go ahead?
Yeah.
I mean, this is an obvious question, of course, and a relevant question. I think when we discussed this meeting in the preparation, we thought we had a 6-month mandate, which ended in April. So, and obviously there was a decision to take whether we want to go forward or whether we want to ask the community for more time. And so we thought we distangle the two things. I think there was a broad agreement to say organizational, governmental, financial, we are on a good way, good shape, good path. We can make that decision, maybe in order to influence the technical summit that has been outlined by David and Daniel to give it the, how would you say, the necessary energy to make that joint decision afterwards. I would agree this is not perfect. We'd rather have everything set and in place. And as David Steiner said, then we could go on with our implementation plans. Nevertheless, it is as it is. And I think the time will be worthwhile spent to make some more thoughts about the technical solution. The technical summit will be time boxed and there will be a decision at the end of the day. So to summarize, I think we can take the decision for the merger and have confidence to find a technical solution that, as David said, will just make a difference in the engine that we are using. But we are agreeing, or not agreeing, but we are trying to find an agreement that we use a shared solution. So that's it from my perspective.
Thanks, Hans Peter. Well, I would add that so I think as a community, we do have a wide spread as the EMDIS community. We have a wide agreement on that we should be integrated into the WMDA and that we should not work separately. We discussed this in October, and we got a green light from the EMDIS community in January as well, very, very strong. So I think there was one vote against that idea. So that is what we are voting about, is that our organizations are coming together. Now, if we come together, I think it would be quite foolish then to say, well, let's maintain 2 IT systems. I think it is logical, and it would be very logical then to build Connect, and then to build EMDIS, and then to build some sort of a portal between them. But that is something that the technical summit will hopefully give us. I have complete confidence in these professional people that they can develop a system for us that will work for us, and that will enable us to communicate registry to registry. So yeah, from personal experience, if I may share, so a few weeks ago I was personally frustrated with this project. You know, we've been working on this, and we are understanding how the governance could work, and it seems to be reasonable and fair in my understanding towards towards us all. But then, you know, I received news that the technical people have not reached a solution. And that was the cause of my frustration. And I wrote this to the working groups, and I said, you know, as a registry CEO, I want a system that works. I don't care if it's called EMDIS or if it's called Connect, and I don't care if there's Azure or Amazon under the hood. You know, it doesn't matter to me. I want a functional system. And I want a system then that can be maintained by the technical people that we have, and that will be future-proof, so that it can be developed and there can be new functionalities with minimal work. So I'm imagining that, or understanding that, some of these solutions would maintain some functionalities now, but that would mean that for years to come, the maintenance would be more complicated, and so on. Yeah, that was just to unload some of the things that I have seen throughout this project. I think we have a great community and a great cause, and we need a functional system. And we as users should now ask the technical people to give us a solution that works. It may demand a little bit of more work in the registries and by the WMDA Connect team, but to give us a functional system. And I'm confident that we will get that. Okay, thank you. Then there's a technical, I think there's a technical issue from Amar. Technical question, would the technical team like to discuss this?
I can give it a try. If I get the question correct, it is about why are we not only having WMDA to be a kind of an exchange hub or gateway and leave the rest like it is. And I think the idea behind this that we wanted to have a system that is open also for non-EMDIS registries, and allow also those registries to connect to the EMDIS world. And that's why this central piece has to have a bit more logic or more functionalities. But on the other hand, I would like to point out that the issues related to that aren't actually the open ones anymore. So the idea how to connect APIs into that central gateway, there we are pretty agreed on how we could do that. And with the agreement of changing from XML to JSON, we also fixed the language that they could speak. So I don't see complications there anymore on the opening up the system to non-EMDIS registries.
Thank you, Jan. Other comments on that? Yeah, Mats has nice pointed questions. Thank you for this one. Also, why not WMDA goes EMDIS? Good question. I think this merger will benefit both of us. So as we tried to outline, the bottom-up system and the RFC system, we will be taking that with us as we go into the WMDA. So I think we will be enriching Pillar 1 if and when hopefully we join, because we take this tradition with us. My wish is that the user group of the new IT system, which will not be called EMDIS and it will not be called Connect, that the user group will be as active and as democratic and as user-driven as the EMDIS user group has been. And I think that will be a major plus for the WMDA. Okay.
Matty, if I may just include something here, I think that Matt really does make a good point about why is it EMDIS goes WMDA as opposed to WMDA goes EMDIS. And I think it's really just a naming situation there. From at least from a WMDA point of view, it's simply for the communities to come together, not for one to suddenly be mandated to do one thing that the other never really intended to do. We are a community, a larger membership of communities, EMDIS, non-EMDIS, we all have the same goals. And I really value and everyone at the WMDA values the commitment of the EMDIS users and how involved they are in the decision-making process. But I think that the WMDA share many of those same values. There are working groups that are open to everybody, that anyone can join, and WMDA voting is done by proper nominations process. And in future, so would these committees and these steering groups and user groups would be elected in the same way. So the only thing that's really changing is that we are simply opening up the door to registries currently known as non-EMDIS registries to start participating and exchanging messages and exchanging stem cells with you guys, with the EMDIS members in and utilizing the technology that you have grown accustomed with. Echoing some of the technical comments made earlier, from below the hood type of situation, some things would look different, but from a business and operational point of view, it would look absolutely no different to what you've been used to and become accustomed to. Every registry will still be able to decide for themselves who they want to do business with and how they want to conduct that business. The WMDA is not interested in mandating how you conduct your business. It is simply pooling resources and preventing a duplication of effort. The WMDA is willing and offering to host a central broker or offer the technology that is required to make this solution happen. But ultimately, it is the decision of the EMDIS users whether you decide to go this way. Of course, we would really encourage that, but it remains your decision.
Okay, then there's a question on on the payments? How will you make sure that using the same infrastructure will ensure each registry to pay for what it really uses? We will be, I can give it a try. So,
shall I give it a try?
oh, please, Felix, thanks. You saved me.
Yeah, I think it's quite an easy one. I mean, the central broker is like for all the people which are within the WMDA, because the donors will be exchanged over that central broker. So this is like covered by the whole community, and also is its new features and new things we do on that broker. The implementation on the EMDIS people who are running their EMDIS nodes, this has to be covered by their people, by themselves, by the registries. So the really EMDIS specific implementations are covered by the registries, and all the things which are for the whole community is paid by the whole community, I would say.
Thank you, Felix. Great. How do we select the representatives to the various committees? Well, these committees that I described, that have user group representatives, I presume that this question is directed on that. Well, first of all, these groups like the technical advisory group and the user group, they will self-organize and write their own house rules. But then my presumption is that the house rules will then describe how to propose candidates for, say, the board committee or for the steering committee, and then they will be voted on in these various groups. So just as the EMDIS user group and technical group are currently choosing their officials, then this tradition would continue. Anybody would like to add to that? Okay. Then Oliver clarified on the finance committee and the seat on the finance committee. Oliver, would you like to just briefly explain this to the community?
Yes, of course. So we have discussed this in the finance committee, and what we would like to have really insight on technical solutions, but also on financial solutions. So, and I think it would be a pity just have somebody is just saying, I don't just look for the EMDIS part, but not overlook all the ICT investments which can be done by the budget of the WMDA. And this was also then rephrased by the board, that actually the person who is being a new seat in the finance committee should not just focus on EMDIS. EMDIS will be a big part, the solutions will be a big part, but there will be also auto development. And I think that's really good to have everything then in common and overlook that one. So in principle, the nomination procedure will just be a seat in the finance committee, and not just an EMDIS seat in that one. But it is certainly a good thing if EMDIS nominates good candidates in this finance committee then. Although a lot of them are already EMDIS members, we have to rephrase that as well.
Good, great. Thank you. What is the time frame to resolve and to find the technical solution? Wow, that's a tough one. David and Jan, or some other person who can see the future?
So maybe I can just give some information here. The WMDA, from our point of view, we have asked everybody, all of the technical people that have been involved in the process thus far, to make some suggestions and recommendations on perhaps an independent facilitator, someone that has no stake, but very skilled and a lot of technical information and knowledge on IT architecture to facilitate the upcoming technical summit. From our point of view, we've already engaged with someone to investigate whether they could be good in facilitating such a meeting. But again, the suggestions, it's still open. Anyone that knows someone that they feel would be really good at facilitating such discussions, that is also obviously quite aware of what registry communication looks like. They must be a good communicator, and they must have really good knowledge and experience on current infrastructure, IT infrastructure and architecture. So please send those suggestions through. Ideally, we would like to have that technical summit happen sometime within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And coming out of that summit, we will develop documentation of what the solution is going to look like. Again, voting today is not going to determine the solution. To voting today is a vote towards confidence in common governance and finance arrangement, whereas the solution is hopefully going to be a single solution. But depending on what the technical discussions are like, that is still open. There is no fixed plan and no fixed kind of settings that no one is willing to compromise on.
Good, thank you. Jan or David, anything else on time frame?
Not really on time frame. I mean, as Alicia said, it's the next weeks that we hope that we can have this technical summit, IT summit, and also not the exact time frames are set. It's the same time frames roughly, that we hope that we can produce the documentation and then either provide the one outcome from the IT summit, or given documentation and a cost effort estimation to the different ones if there are still more than one. But it's not speaking of month and half a year or something like that, but it's I think everyone is aware that that's really a pressing issue, and that we should move forward as quickly as possible. But yeah, can't really give a date right now already.
Good.
Yeah,
yes, please, David.
Yeah, just one comment from me. It took us quite a lot of time to get here, and unfortunately we don't have a technical solution yet. But we are now discussing on the solution for just 1 year. It's a long-term solution, so we should give us time, all the technical people, to find good solution, and that's the reason we organize this technical summit.
There's a related question. So this was the time to resolution, and then Agnieszka asks, what is the approximate time frame for the implementation? So you've developed the solution in a few weeks, or when will this be functional, and when can we use it?
Yeah, I may try to comment. So of course, it's difficult to have a timeline for implementation if we don't have the solution yet. But let's say if we have proceeded with EMDIS 4 proposal RC72, we would have a 1 year implementation package for the basic transition of the communication protocol. So we would be ready we would have the key milestones in November 2021. Now this is postponed. We are looking for the combined solution, so there will be some delay, but if it depends on the changes. But again, the main principle, the communication level, can be implemented in one implementation package, I believe.
Just a comment on the time frame again. I want to echo what David just said. There is really a need to make sure that we get this right if we are going to do it. We are not talking about a short-term solution. We are talking about a sustainable solution that we can build on for years to come. That is going to serve not a subset of the community, but the entire WMDA community. So I think it's worthwhile giving the time needed to come to a good conclusion. The downside, unfortunately, is the availability of funds. The WMDA currently has funds available from an EU grant, and that it is willing to make available for the development of this project. Unfortunately, we have to spend that money during 2021 or during projects done in 2021. And so we really want to spend that money on this. But if there are continuous delays and postponements, we might not be able to.
Okay. Yep. Thank you. That's a good point as well. And there are a few questions here. Some are suggesting we should take some more time to make this decision. I think we have given this a lot of time. I think we've discussed this back and forth, and delaying this decision again would not lead us to a better solution. I think we should make the decision now and trust our technical teams that they will develop us. They will provide us with a good solution, and I have confidence in them that they can do that. Okay. Okay. I think many of these questions now, we have touched on these quite a bit already. So, and time is progressing. So is there some question that the others on the other chairs or someone else would like to discuss before we move on? Maybe we could take one more question.
Maybe I can. Sorry, Hans. I will.
Go ahead,
I can see one technical question. If EMDIS registries decide to implement a new message in EMDIS, why WMDA should be involved? Just my comment is that, of course, having EMDIS independent is more flexible and more easy to proceed. However, we can see that the data dictionary is now used also by WMDA in other aspects like WMDA forms and WMDA data upload and so on. And we came to the situation we have different data dictionaries that are not compatible. So actually WMDA has been inspired by EMDIS data dictionary, and now also as a part of implementation package 18, we also align EMDIS data dictionary back to WMDA. So because from the local implementations, it's important to have a single language, data dictionary language. And just we can see on the data dictionary problem that that there is a need to align not only EMDIS but also other aspects of WMDA, and this brings some benefits but also some drawbacks because it takes more time to discuss it in additional working groups and so on. And this is also related not only to data dictionary but to EMDIS semantics. What are the workflows and so on.
Okay. Was there some?
We have 3 hands raised, Hans-Peter, Shimona, and Jan. So I think Hans-Peter was first.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Personally, I think, yeah. Am I still muted? No.
No, you can go ahead.
Okay. So thanks, Darius. That was a great comment. I think leading to the future of something, we're actually talking about a global business-to-business platform. I'm avoiding words like EMDIS or WMDA here on purpose. So EMDIS was a tool that's valuable, and what we are trying at the moment is to carry it forward to the future, saving the investments of EMDIS, but also, as I said, leading to the future. So great comment, David. I think this led to this one. I tried to answer Christina's question. I think the answer is yes. May WMDA, no EMDIS registries, be connected to EMDIS like a hub and go on, and then it goes EMDIS 4.0. Yes, if EMDIS 4.0 would be the final solution, so that the answer would be yes, but they would go on with the technical solution. As I said, this is the engine in the car, so the car will work. You don't have to care about the engine. So Christina, the answer is yes, but it's not EMDIS 4 necessarily. It might be a mix or something else, but there will be an engine.
Thanks, Hans-Peter. So Simona, you were next.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to point out what Hans-Peter already said. So in the new governance and finance requirements, we should stop saying of EMDIS members and not EMDIS members. We will be part of the single community. So I fully agree with the Hans-Peter comment. However, I would like to go back in the governance session about what will be the members, the user members appointed, nominated in the different governance pillar 1. I mean, it's in my understanding that we discussed that the new governance will be bottom up because the users will be on the driving seat and decide their strategic and the strategic plan. And also it's in my understanding that members of the user group will be elected by the users themselves to be represented in the steering committee and in the board as well, and also in the finance committee. So I would like to go back with the Oliver comments on seat in the finance committee. So he said that the seat will be an ICT person overlooking all ICT investment. So this comes to me something different from what we discussed previously. So the sense, if we wanted to keep forward a bottom-up governance, is that the critical position should be covered by users members. And saying users members, we don't say EMDIS members. We are speaking about members that are using the new IT system. So it could be someone that will be joined with a single solution through EMDIS technology, and the members that will not use EMDIS to join the single solution. But it should be a member of the user group. So I think that this should be discussed again, and we should be very clear with the community, because if we are asking to them to vote today, and we are suggesting them a bottom-up governance, it's the most important things is that all the position that will be in the new governance requirements will be elected by the users to document the democracies, so as a lot of EMDIS members asked in this project.
Good. Thank you, Simona. So that's something.
Then finally, there's Jan. He has still his hand raised.
Yeah, but most of the things I would like to say was have been said by Hans-Peter and Simona already, but it was along the same line that there were some comments that is crucially important to consider and take serious the comments from the EMDIS technical group members, especially the EMDIS 4.0 pilot group. And I would just like to highlight that we do that. And one of the results of that is already been shown in this IT summit that will give us a possibility to speak all together and not ping pong forward and backwards via liaison persons. And but also should be highlighted again, I think it's important, is that in the end, if we can't come from the technical people to one thing, but in the end, there's still a decision to make. That decision is being made, or it will be made by these new user groups. So it will be in the end the registries and their representatives that take the decision. So there's no giving away the decision. People will have, or the registries from bottom up will have the control and keep the control.
Thank you. And then Matty, there are no more hands. So I think the only comment that I'd like to, I think there were a lot of similar comments and questions made, and many of them have now been addressed. One that we haven't really spoken about is the comment by Julia Pingle, and she makes a good point, and that is that if the EMDIS 4, original EMDIS 4 design is to go ahead, EMDIS would require someone to negotiate or to sign an agreement with a central cloud provider. At the moment, the EMDIS community is not a legal entity and won't be able to do so unless they form some alliance with another legal entity. And this is part of the reason for EMDIS Goes WMDA. As Matty explained earlier, it was one of the findings in the EMDIS 4.0 steering committee. So the WMDA would very much like to help out in this scenario, where we then sign an agreement with a cloud provider. We're happy to provide the funding required to come to a single solution, and hopefully we can do that in 2021, but only with the consensus and consent from the users. The new governance structure isn't really new, at least not shouldn't be to EMDIS users, because it is basically the same house rules. We have simply made them to fit inside the WMDA pillar structure. But apart from that, every registry gets a vote, and the only way the system changes is through an RFC process. And these are known processes for everyone in EMDIS. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Matty, would you like to take it over again?
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Alicia. Thank you, everybody. Good comments and good questions, and hopefully we were able to answer some of them. I think we've presented what we have prepared, and now it is time for the community to vote on whether EMDIS should join the WMDA officially. So, Alicia, I think you had some slides on.
I do. I'll share those now.
Issue.
I'm not sure which slide I'm sharing right now. Is it number 2? Sorry, is it the right slide?
We are not
sharing anything at the moment.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. Where's this? There we go. I want to share screen 2. There we go. Okay.
That's better. Thank you. Okay, so now for the vote. So I will explain a few things. First of all, this is a big decision for EMDIS, and our house rules state that any EMDIS member may propose an alteration to the house rules. This is akin to that. So this is how we should make this decision. And any proposed alteration will require a 2/3 majority of the voting members in favor. And we recognize that not everybody in the EMDIS community has been able to join this because of time zone differences and so on. So in order to give all EMDIS members a possibility to vote, then we decided to perform the vote here at the meeting for those that are present. But then this voting will continue by email over a 1-week period so that all EMDIS members can cast their vote on this important decision. So, and you cast your vote for your registry during this meeting. If you should regret your decision and want to change it, then we feel it would be fair to give you that possibility. So you can, during this 1-week period, any registry who wants to change their vote can then recast their vote as if they so desire. And hopefully by Friday, the EMDIS chairs team will prepare an email message to all EMDIS members describing this, and then you will have a chance to cast your vote. And so a week from Friday will be the closing of the vote. And then we will get together and go through a process of validating the votes, making sure that they have been cast by the representatives of the registries. Okay. Then, so the question will be, should EMDIS, now I forget the exact wording. Alicia, can you read the exact wording, please? Shall EMDIS be integrated into the WMDA? And there will be three choices: yes, no, or abstain. Can you close that, please, Alicia? So, and we will leave these points on the screen here. So we, as chairs, felt that these are the major changes that will that this decision will imply. So hopefully this will help you to make up your mind in the interest of your registry. Okay, then if there are any more comments, then feel free to write them in the chat window, and we will try to answer those comments or include them in public discussion later. But so, with further ado,
Matty, can I launch the polling?
yes, please. And did we decide how long? Let's.
Matti, sorry, I think that we should first reply to Mats. So actually he's asking, is today here, but could he decide to not vote today and reply after this meeting when we will send him the email?
Okay, Simona, please answer.
I am personally in favor. So for those registry who would like to vote today, they could reply to the tool. The missing registry that will not provide their vote will be contacted later by the chairs, and they will have 1 week for providing their reply.
And to comment on the second question from Mats, no, the vote today will not be communicated in the email. It will be just the request for the missing registries to cast their vote, but they won't get any information. So they have the same status of information as you have here right now. And the remark from Evelyn, it is, as Matti just presented in the House rules, 2/3 of approval that we need. So abstaining is somehow a no as well. It is 2/3 yes that is needed to change the House rule.
Right. Good. Thank you. Very good clarifications, Jan and Simona. Okay. Alicia, please. And 5 minutes, I think, is enough for us.
Okay, so I just want to say that we had two incredibly active, enthusiastic voters the first time around. Unfortunately, those votes were cleared, so I would just like to ask, could you please just submit your votes again for the people that voted? There were only 2, so if you already voted, just click on it again to vote again. Thanks. The votes are coming in nicely, so thanks.
So I think we agreed that there would be 5 minutes. So if you are able to quickly make up your mind, then you have time to get a cup of coffee, and we will continue in after 4 minutes.
There's about another minute left before Matty is going to commence with the meeting. There are still votes coming through, so thanks for that. However, there are still some attendees here who are not voting. If you are unable to vote using the Zoom poll, please then cast your vote via email. Also, it is most understandable if you'd like to first read through the documentation again, ask some more questions, and maybe meet with the decision makers or CEOs or CIOs or technical people within your organization before you cast your vote via email.
Okay, I think our 5 minutes is up, so shall we continue? The next items on our agenda is IP18 and the plans for this year. So I'd like to ask Jan and David to decipher that for us, please.
Okay, thank you, Mate. I will try to share screen. Okay, so in this section, I will explain the next implementation package. As you know, we have for many, many years, we have a tradition of having one implementation package per year. This is how the EMDIS protocol progresses forward. For the implementation package 18, that's ongoing this year or will go this year forward, we had quite a lot of RFCs that were pending after the grid projects, because basically for 3 years we have been doing mainly grid. So this big list of RFCs have been approved by the EMDIS user group. We also asked you to select your priorities. Then we mapped the priorities to the overall score, and that was all published and communicated to the user group. Based on your input, we have prepared, the technical chairs have prepared 3 options for implementation package 18. And we explained you these options in January. We also included feedback from the registries, from your comments. Basically, the main feedback that was very good actually is that we should implement all RFCs that are linked to the infection disease markers in the single implementation package, whether it will be in this implementation package or other implementation package, it should be implemented together. So we ask you to vote on these options and on the IDM package. And so this is the overview of all the options that we have presented in January. These are all approved RFCs. You can see the priorities. As we know, the RFC 72 had the highest priority. So based on your voting, we have results. The infection IDM package requested additional approval of RFC, I think 67. 11 registries approved this package. So and quite a lot of registries didn't vote, but we sent you several reminders, and I think this is at the end quite a good big group of the registries that participated, and everybody had the chance to vote. And for the second question, what will be the preferred solution for AP18? 2 registries voted for the full workload, which means implement everything what has been approved. But most of the registries selected the option to go forward with EMDIS 4 plus some cleanup RFCs. Next to the IDM package, we have, so this is again the list of RFCs and selected option B. So again, back to the RFC 72. As I've explained today, we don't have the final technical solution yet. It will be discussed in the technical summit. So we have to postpone the RFC 72, even if it has the highest priority. So it will be scoped from IP 18. We have discussed what does it mean, the timeline. These are questions that we will know more from the technical summit. As I've mentioned, since this is the highest priority RFC, so the new technical proposal or amended technical proposal may be implemented in the special EMDIS transition period or special 18 plus implementation package that may run in parallel with IP 18. But this is just a proposal that needs to be discussed in EMDIS user group or EMDIS or new user group, depending on the result of the EMDIS goes WMDA voting. So at the end, this is the list of RFCs for implementation package 18. The first RFC 58, it's very old RFC. It's already approved and pending, I think, for 4 years. And I mentioned that also that when there is a long history for some fields in EMDIS. When EMDIS introduced EMDIS court mirroring, some fields have been duplicated. Then WMDA has introduced WMDA data upload, so it has been inspired by EMDIS court. And we need to have as much aligned data dictionary as possible. So the RFC 58 mainly cleans up some inconsistencies in EMDIS data dictionary and also does alignment to WMDA. You can see that in the name of this RFC, we still have BMDW, so WMDA data dictionary or common data dictionary. Then we have the IDM RFCs. RFC 68 is there is almost nothing to do. It's mainly update of EMDIS documentation. Okay, here are some details. I will not go through it. You can see that even if we have excluded RFC 72, we still have quite a lot of work to do. So it will be a standard way how to proceed. This is a proposed implementation plan for IP 18. As usually, we have key milestone in November and December. Once other registries are allowed to send new messages, that's from the 8th of November 2021. All other registries have to be prepared to accept the messages of version 3.18. And from the 6th of December 2021, all registries have to send the messages already in new format. And then let's usually very quickly, but maximally after 1 week, in the middle of December 2021, we are all on version 3.18. This document is already published on Share. There is a new page, IP18, under EMDIS working group, so you can see the document. And this is the link to the web page. There are also links to individual RFCs, and we will publish new data dictionary and new EMDIS semantics that will take data and information from all individual RFCs to a comprehensive guide for local implementations. Soon it will be published by the end of May. Okay, so that's a summary for implementation package 18. Thank you. Matti, you are on mute.
Thanks. Good presentation and important reminder. So we've come to the end of the prepared part of the meeting. Now we have some time for any other business. Would some EMDIS member like to raise some issues for discussion or? Okay, well, then I must thank you all. This has been an interesting meeting, and the next 1.5 weeks will be very interesting. So let's see where we end up with our decision, and hopefully we will make a wise one, and we can from my point of view, hopefully leave some of this rowing back and forth behind us, and then start really working on building something new together. But thank you, everybody, and it was good to meet everyone again. And so thank you, and bye-bye.
Thank you.
Perhaps if the EMDIS chairs or the ones that are still here can just hang back for a sec.
Sure.
We still have some participants in the meeting. I'm not sure if you guys are there. If you are, you can drop out of the meeting. I'm also going to stop the recording now.
Yeah, you can stop the recording. Yes. Can you